In Chapter 14 of Jane Austen's Sense and Sensibility, Mrs. Jennings keeps up her relentless gossip about Colonel Brandon's sudden trip to London, guessing at the personal and financial crises that must have befallen him. Elinor, meanwhile, wonders what agreement may exist between Marianne and Willoughby, who maintain a strange kind of secrecy. Elinor speculates that perhaps Willoughby doesn't yet control enough of his fortune to marry, since he seems to overspend his modest income. Yet he behaves with affection toward Marianne and her family. It certainly seems like he wants to marry Marianne. One evening, Willoughby objects to Mrs. Dashwood's plans to improve the cottage. "Not a stone must be added to its walls," he declares passionately, calling the cottage faultless because he's been so happy there. When Mrs. Dashwood assures Willoughby she won't change the cottage, he goes a step further and insists that she and her daughters never change and always think kindly of him. In Chapter 15 of Sense and Sensibility, Mrs. Dashwood, Margaret, and Elinor visit Lady Middleton while Marianne stays home, secretly hoping to steal a few moments alone with Willoughby before everyone has dinner. When the family returns, they see Willoughby's carriage and servant outside. Inside, they're surprised to see Marianne fleeing upstairs in tears, while Willoughby stands by the fireplace, pretending to be in good spirits as he announces that his aunt, Mrs. Smith, needs him to go to London. He might be gone for a whole year. He leaves, clearly distressed, saying, "I will not torment myself any longer by remaining among friends whose society it is impossible for me now to enjoy." Elinor is puzzled and upset. Did an engagement ever exist between Marianne and Willoughby? She worries that her sister may plunge into extreme grief and asks her mother if she believes the lovers may have had a fight. Mrs. Dashwood suspects that Mrs. Smith has learned of Willoughby's attachment to Marianne and, disapproving, ordered him away from Devonshire. Elinor wants to be understanding, or even make excuses for Willoughby's actions, but she insists his behavior toward Marianne hasn't been exactly honorable. Their argument escalates until Elinor agrees that if the couple write to each other often, she'll set aside her suspicions about Willoughby. But Marianne continues to grieve, later fleeing the dinner table because she's so upset.